is in conversation with Avanti Honawar. She is the director of Jabberwockies Advertising Private Limited. I will just read out a brief profile before we start. Avanti Honawar is a well-known personality, has a vigorous passion towards life, business and parenthood. With almost 2 decades of varied forms of involvement in advertising game, she speaks to us on her experiences, her philosophies and her attitudes towards chasing her dream and pursuit of a personal and professional life. Ms. Honawar is truly an artist at heart, majoring in illustration and commercial art during the days of her education and having worked with advertising agencies around the Indian subcontinent and the Middle East. A creative tornado, she has been awarded on manifold occasions for her achievements and contributions to the industry. Avanti has started her own advertising enterprise, aptly named the Jabberwockies. It's a mystical and eclectic spin on the media and communication buzz, where the fun never stops, and the work tells the thrilling tale of a passion and jest for making the most out of life and everything that is on offer. Avanti, welcome once again. Thank you. So before we start, I would like to know the meaning of Jabberwockies.
Hi everybody. I'm going to make this very informal because I think the more interactive it is, I think it gets more fun for everybody. My fluency in English is better, but you all are free to ask me questions in Marathi as well. That's a very interesting question and I love answering this. So the ad world is a very crazy world, we all know. It looks great from the outside, but we know what happens back in. The Jabberwockies is actually an Indian word which means nonsensical gibberish talking. So, when we have people coming to us for business, they don't know what they really want and we don't know what they want. So this is completely a nonsensical approach, but what comes out of it is a genius approach. So that's the philosophy of the Jabberwockies.
I tried to find the meaning and I couldn't find it.
I'm glad you wouldn't have asked me this question if you did.
So what are the factors that motivated you to be an entrepreneur? We would like to know your transition from a working woman to an entrepreneur.
So before I answer that question, I want to have this quick conversation with Swaroop. Swaroop, I'm a single mom too. So
should we meet
and you give your views of doing it all at home, and here it takes a lot to.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot. I have one son.
I want to clap for you.
Thank you. But I owe it to my mom who's sitting out here. So yes, we do. It's a huge balance in life, and yeah, coming to her question. So I always wanted to do advertising. I always wanted to get on the creative side. The family has been on the creative side. So that's how I did my commercial art and moved on with my career. And yes, the best part of it is taking up a job because that's where you get your maximum experience. And I think everybody out here has somewhere had a dream. Some of them have not fulfilled that dream, maybe because they've been at home or they haven't had that exposure level. So yes, I've always had, I've been lucky to have good jobs, but there was somewhere something missing because every time you work, you're working for someone, and the feeling of accomplishment is never complete. That feeling would come when you do something for yourself. You're not doing it because you want to prove it to the world, but you're doing it because you want to feel good that I have achieved something. So I always wanted to do something, but I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the guts to take up because everybody around you, the man's world, is super powerful, a perception that has been there. But I said, let me break the ice at some point of time. And I think I owe this to finally being single, because when I ended up being a single woman, I realized I've got to run the house myself. So I do not have any dependency factors. And I think most women, even if we are extremely talented and have a lot of perseverance, we still have some dependence on a family member in the house. And that's what suppresses our dreams or our desires to do something. So I owe it to being a single mom that I said, yes, now I'm going to move the next step. And that's how I decided to start my own.
you were invited for the launch of a Startup India initiative. So how do you see the linkage between your business mission and the initiative taken by the government? And where do you see the advantage for yourself?
So the startup movement has come up now. It was never there when I actually started my own company. So I would say that yes, it's a great opportunity for people who are still in that zone where they're trying to figure out things for themselves and get that motivation and that platform. But for me, it's been purely something which I wanted to do. So I'm not going to give credit to the startup move for myself, but I was lucky to be a part of this move. So I'll give you a little bit of a background. I started this company about 3 years ago. I started actually a company, a particular brand 3 years ago, and I believed that I should be hiring more of women for the organization. Not because I don't trust the men, but because I felt that the women do have the capabilities to multitask, they do work with passion, they have their own restrictions. And the company started with just about 8 people, and it grew to about 40. And during that process, I was very lucky to have been approached by a company called She the People, which is a women video platform. And I don't know if many of you all know, but if you all don't, please try ways you can talk to me and I can put you across to this platform, because it's an amazing platform where there's a lot of importance given to women in the business area. So they had approached me, I guess they had heard of me through the network, and they had a video interview taken of me. And they had interviewed about 800 women of India. And I was not unaware. I thought it's just a PR stink that they want to come and upload videos on their website. So I was pretty casual about it until one fine day I got a call saying that we are having awards in Bombay and you are a strong contestant. So we need you to put in your application for the nomination. Frankly speaking, I just didn't want to do it. And I think it's all thanks to my mom and my sister that they pushed me. They said, no, you got to do it. And the last date was over and so on, but I just did not put in my application. So there was some calling because they extended the date. And after that, there was this gentleman from Bombay who said, you know what, ma'am, I don't care. I'm taking your interview on the phone and I'm putting up your application, and that's what happened. Then came a few weeks later a call that you need to come for the award ceremony. Again, I was like, 800 women, where am I going to be in the picture? I started asking him questions, how many people from Pune, which industry, there may be people who are more successful. So just how Nilamtai just mentioned, that I think she mentioned, that we tend to question ourselves from the beginning, that where are we going wrong? So those are the questions, that why would they call me? What have I really done that I need to stand a chance? Nevertheless, it was more of an experience because I said, okay, there are going to be different speakers and it will be fun to go and hear what other people talk. And I went for that ceremony and I was lucky enough to win an award out there. So I won for leadership. Thank you. So I won for leadership in a digital agency and a women-led company. And that's when I realized that I kind of got overwhelmed because I said, okay, this is just the beginning. Now I don't know what's more in store. I got back, I laid low about it, I focused on the work. I had a very, very bad experience with my earlier business where maybe it may be in one of your questions, so I don't want to answer it beforehand. But the challenges, which we'll talk about. So I came back and next I get an invitation for the Startup India Stand-Up Movement at the Vigyan Bhavan on 16th of January. Again, I ignored that invitation. I thought it's going to the masses, it's bulk emails, and I'm not going to look at it. 3 days prior to 16th of January, I get an email from the Vigyan Bhavan, the event company who was doing the entire event. And they said, you need to come here. And that became serious business for me. I said, why are they calling me? And they said the Jabberwockies is going to be displayed in the women's lounge at the Vigyan Bhavan. So we were 15 to 18 companies all over India that were selected to be displayed at the women's lounge. They had a separate women's section where they had those typical LCD screens where women could display, their profiles were shown, the works that they do and so on. So I said, okay, I cannot miss it this time. If the company is being shown, I'd rather get there. So I went a day earlier. I still took it very easy. On reaching Vigyan Bhavan that morning, I was again a gentleman. I don't know why it's the men who come forward for these things, but yeah, the gentleman came forward and he said, ma'am, there are 15 women who are getting an opportunity to meet Modi ji, and you're one of them. So I thought it was a joke, it was a prank, because I never believed that things would move forward. And I took it up and I said, okay. They said, meet up at so and so time, and went out. They said, okay, sorry now, no more 15, it's going to be only 8 women. I said, okay, because he was very clear that he didn't have too much time. Obviously, there was too many things happening. So I said, okay, there goes my opportunity. And no, I was there again. So I was one of the 8 women. I was the only one from Pune. I was the only one from the advertising fraternity. And the rest all were from Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay and Udaipur. So we were 8 women we went through a huge task because we got I never knew there was something called a proximity pass, which is you can be in proximity of the Prime Minister. So it was only the SPG force and the 8 women that were allowed to be around him.
I think we should give a big round of applause for this.
Yeah, it feels like a fairy tale right now. So we went through a lot of security, and I never knew that. Yes, meeting the Prime Minister is something which I never imagined. I never thought it would come out of nowhere. I always thought that you need to have contacts to get there. You need to know somebody somewhere and then go. But from a very common woman perspective, you need to. To get there, you had to be something. And yes, so I was there, we met up with him. It was a very, he has an aura. I've always been a follower of Modi ji. I've always followed everything that he speaks. I believe in it because I think he talks the common man's language. And the one thing he mentioned out there was, he was very clear that he wanted to meet up with women. He was very clear that he wants to give a platform for women also. So it was not just the technology space, because everybody thinks it's all about technology because of the whole digital, era that we are in. But what he had to say is that everybody can make a difference to this country. You do not have to have a large group organization. You can just be 2 people. You can just make a difference to one another in some form of business, and that is what is going to take you to a different level. So that was one take-home message, because I realized that it's not the number of people in the organization that makes a difference, but it's about your goals, your vision and your dreams. So I think that's something which all the women out here need to keep in mind, that nobody's asking you to make it big. We all just need to believe that whatever we are doing it for ourselves. So that was one big experience for me.
So Avanti, you are in a creative field. Pune has a few women in advertising. Some of them have quit and some of them are still going ahead strong. So tell me, what challenges have you experienced in this field as a woman?
So advertising looks all great and glorious from outside. It's quite dirty otherwise, because you're facing all kinds of people. It's a typical service industry where you meet the good, bad and the ugly. And when I had a job, when I was working, I was exposed to that side of business, where a woman, yes, we are entertained, we are, we have people who address us, they don't have a choice. They talk to us politely, because you're a woman. And you can get away with that because you get, I'm going to give you my personal experience, that I was able to get appointments with clients because I was a woman on the call. If I would ask any other team member, a guy, to make a call, he would not be entertained. So, fine, this is reality, this is what it was, so we got to leverage on that. So we faced it, but being in advertising, I saw that there were a lot of people who never looked at you as a career woman. They always looked at you as, I mean, I'm not saying everybody, there are exceptions to every case, but I did face a lot of situations where they always had a doubt whether you are right, whether you are delivering exactly what they want, because somewhere there was a question mark that the woman is not capable. And it would not be direct on the face, but it would be like, okay, let's meet again, or when we have a requirement, we'll come back to you, and so on. I never gave up at that time. I realized that the most important thing to progress in advertising for me was relationship building. The money, the services, everything follows when the time is right. But what's most important is to ensure that you're meeting people, networking, and making sure that you build those relationships. So I did that from the time I was working, and that's what's coming to my advantage right now as an entrepreneur. Because those are the same people today I can talk with confidence to. They're the same people that may not have even remembered my name then, and today they call and they ask for me. So that is the challenge I had faced initially. Advertising also is an industry which is not a 9-to-5 job. Everything was wanted yesterday, nothing is wanted today and tomorrow. Everything is wanted as in it's already gone by. But then again, we've got to keep the clients happy, and for that you need to work whatever it takes. So I have worked hours like till 3, 4 in the morning, come home at 5 in the morning, got back to work at 9 in the morning, and hardly had any sleep. But I realized that the men never did it. The men never did it in my industry. Because they would, okay, I'm sorry, this is not really hinted at you, this is a personal experience I've had. So I always felt that the women were more dynamic, they were always charged up, they never had reasoning to give. They always fought back situations. And the men always had their reasons, that I need my sleep, or they would pretend they're working. So I faced that. And today when I have people in my organization, I make sure that I hire men as well. So I let them go through what I went through.
What about work-life balance? I mean, you said you work
Yes.
24/7.
Yes. I'm a workaholic by nature. I've always worked, even when I was in college, my assignments would keep me up all night. I never felt lack of sleep. And when I started working, I started continuing doing the same thing, and it was still fine so long as I was single. But now, being a single mom, that gets difficult on me. Not because I don't have mom and dad to take care of my son, but because I feel guilty. There's a guilt factor that comes in, that you want to aspire, you want to achieve the best. You've already got to a certain point. Now you don't want to give up. Now you want to take a step higher. You want to reach a stage where you can sit back and enjoy the show. So it's the time of my life where I cannot step back. And for that, I know the kind of guilt that I have every day, that I'm not able to spend time with my son. But having said that, I have made sure that I have considered that there are a lot of women who have to have that work-life balance. So I've made sure that the organization is a 5-day week. I do not let anybody work on the weekends, even though it's advertising. So a Saturday, Sunday is dedicated to the family for everybody, because I want people to come back on a Monday with no guilt and the feeling that yes, I spend 2 days of the week at least with my family. I have balanced, I think, my life pretty well. Even though I say I'm guilty, it's not the fact that I've not spent complete time. I do give time, and I'm a family person. I'm more of, I like doing things with family, so I cannot eliminate that part of my life at all. I have a social life too, so because that's important again, because if you don't have a social life, you can't network with people. So that is also equally important. So it's work, it's your personal social life as well as your family. But the one thing I feel that is really missing in my life, and I'm really trying hard, is to give time to myself. I'm not able to give time to myself. I'm not able to do things that I would like to do out of work. So that is something I'm still working on myself with.
Avanti, you were awarded Best Business Leader among businesswomen by an online TV company. So we would like to hear something about your experience, and if you can give any special tips that our friends would like to hear.
Covered most of it actually on getting the award. I didn't realize that question was coming. So let me tell you a little bit about the award ceremony, because the women who were there. So yeah, let me get back a little bit. So I am not from a business family. My family has never had their own business. It's always been like my mom was with a bank. My dad had his own. He was initially in the Navy, and then he had his own. He's on the hospitality side. He was working and so on. So we've never come from a business mindset. So like you said, focus on finance. I agree with you. That's the thing I am horrible at. I just cannot.
The second reason you have given me to meet you.
But the finance, but yes, my mom is great with finance, so she handles my finance. So and I still feel that there's a lot to learn. Manali is also finding her next bakra in me. So I feel that there was a lot to learn. Can I get, I don't know whether you've covered it, but can I talk about my earlier company in this question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I faced a very, there are a lot of sayings that until you fail, you don't succeed. And the more you fail, you need to get up and walk again and, say, okay, fine, I'm going to do it this time. And I don't look at too many failures in the initial part of my career, and I don't look at this one incident that I'm going to tell you about also as a failure, but I look at it as a reason that made me stronger as a woman, stronger as a businesswoman. So the earlier agency that I had, it was called the Circus Works. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but the Circus Works it's exactly the similar thing that the Jabberwockies is doing. And I was approached by some known people who were not from the scope of advertising, and they just wanted to invest into the company. And I think my biggest, sometimes I use it to my credit, sometimes I don't, but I trust people easily. And due to that, I got into this so-called partnership with the gentleman, and two men. And it so happened that when we started off, I told you we were 8 people, and we grew the business to almost 40 people. We were marked as the top 10 agencies in Bombay, Pune, the newer startup agencies. And we had clients right from an Ogilvy to a Lintas coming to us because they had their own bitter experiences with the big names. And they wanted to work with smaller size companies and startups because that's where the real talent is actually. Because the fresh talent coming out of the colleges, you will find them in the bigger agencies, but they are purely doing dirty work. They're not really in the limelight, they're not putting their best foot forward. They're just made to take, cut, copy, paste stuff. Whereas here at the Circus Works, as well as now the Jabberwockies, we are giving that platform to young talent and newer talent where they're able to achieve. So when I started that company, everything went great. We reached a very, very good business level until I got a lot of indications that the people who had invested were not interested in the business. So there was a lot of dirty work that was happening behind me, which I was not aware of, where profits were shown as losses and, bickering happening that, the market is down, making sure people are laid off, and, a lot of other issues, which kind of started dampening my motivation. It dampened my spirit that, when you do something passionately, when you do something from within you, where money is not the factor, where your dreams or your aspirations is most important, that's when the emotional side of a woman comes out. And I think I was emotionally very upset and disturbed that after taking the agency to a certain level, I had to let it go. And I actually let it go not because I was not capable to take it forward, but I said, why waste my time and energy with a person who is not even interested in taking the brand to the level that I'm looking at? Why should somebody else be benefiting from my investment of knowledge? So I said, let me just step out of it, continue that passion just under a different brand name. It doesn't matter. And so I don't look at it as a failure, but I look at it as a learning curve. It made me realize that I need to get into the finances. Because just because the finance never interested me, I was very happy with business coming, agency growing, goodwill in the market, people making us an agency of choice, people literally calling for jobs. That feel-good factor was amazing. But because that was my focus, I never looked at the finances. And because I never looked at the finances, I faced the brunt. So I looked at it more than a failure as a learning. So now when the Jabberwockies has started, I have made sure that every single day I'm looking into the accounts. So I feel that everybody has to learn from a certain downfall in their life or in their business and apply it rather than sit back and just get upset about the whole thing. And I think we women get upset very easily.
So the saying goes, failure is the stepping stone to success.
Absolutely. But I still say I didn't fail. Because the moment you say you fail, you start feeling demotivated. And I think today the best thing that you all did was you all appreciated the women out here, not by just saying it's Women's Day, but the certificates you all gave. Because every form of appreciation makes a hell of a difference to a woman. I do not know if the men feel the same, but for a woman, they don't feel appreciated. So I feel that a gesture like this is amazing. I mean, I don't remember at any point of time, apart from this Modi ji and the award that I got, that women were acknowledged. I do not remember any of those times that I have been a part of it. So that was an amazing one.
It definitely gives us motivation and confidence to do more.
Definitely. I think this is just the beginning.
So what kind of advice would you like to give our friends out here regarding branding of their product or services?
So I'm going to talk on this away from a commercial approach. It's nothing to do with the Jabberwockies. It's not like I'm asking you to come to me or something. But there are a lot of people who do not give importance to this area. Branding or advertising, marketing, whatever, these words are used very loosely nowadays. Okay, everybody says, oh, I want to do branding, but nobody knows what is branding. Oh, I want to get into the digital space. They don't know what is digital. But it's just more of a status symbol that I'm doing it. And it really is important to do it not as an expense to your business, but as an investment for your brand. If you want to see your brand grow from point A to point B, it is important that people are aware of your brand. Unless they're aware of what you do, even if you're not very different from the rest, even if you've got, like I always say that I am my own competition. I do not want to know what the other agencies are doing. I don't care who their clients are. I want to fight my own battle. I want to get better, and I tell this to my team too, that every single day you have to do better for yourself. And I would say this to the rest of you all as well, that do not worry about who's doing what around you. You do stuff for yourself. And in order for you to grow, you need to keep people aware of what you're doing. You need to have some visibility. People have to notice you. And in order to get there, you do require a little level of branding or advertising that you may say. And it's a big gimmick. There are people who would say that, especially from the media, they'll say, oh, you put in money here, you put an ad here, you put a hoarding here, and we will make sure that you are noticed. No, it doesn't work that way. Every pocket size has got a solution. You do not need to put that kind of money everywhere. When clients come to me, I do not sell them my services. I sell them what their business really needs. There's no point in trying to make money out of another person, because that person's also making the same kind of money that you're finally going to make. So I like to grow with brands. I am a person that, especially with the Jabberwockies, my focus is purely startups right now. I do work with established brands, no doubt about it. Not because I want to, but it looks good on my portfolio. But the bottom line is I want to work with startups because I understand the challenges that one faces as a startup. Some of them are self-funded, some of them have got funding available through VCs. VCs is the best deal because everything's prepared, but if it's self-funded, I know the kind of challenges that they'll have. So I like to be sensitive to that. I would say if anybody needs any personal advice, it's free with me. You can come and talk to me, but I would definitely want to push you all for doing as much as awareness creation. I won't call it branding.
I would like to say here that no matter how good your product is, but unless people know about it, you cannot sell. or you cannot call yourself the best.
And you're never the best because you want to get better. So you are never the best.
So with this, we are open for the questions. We'll take 2 to 3 questions, and after that probably you can speak to her one-on-one. Any
I've
questions?
answered everybody's questions.
Okay, so no questions. Thanks, Avanti.
Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Avanti. We are
Thank you.
proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your insight, experience.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thankful to Geeta also.
Welcome.
Now our last session is the case study presentation. I request